All right, everybody, how y'all doing? And welcome back to Three and Out with the Dolphins. Your host Ron here, as I go over the scores, stats, and highlights of the Monday Night Football game against the Titans and the Dolphins. Horrible, horrible. I mean, Dolphins had the game, just mistakes, and the reason why on mistakes is that the offensive line did not show up. Yes, the Miami Dolphins offensive line did not show up. When you sit down there, allow your quarterback to get sacked 5 times, and then you sit down here, and then you have a fumble snap. Come on now, offensive line, what happened? Y'all let Tennessee Titans defense get to your heads because clearly y'all wasn't there Monday night. Y'all had Tua scrambled. Tua was just not synced. Hill was out the game due to his re-injuring his ankle in and out, in and out. Then he couldn't go. So everything was basically on Jalen Waddle and Mostrat, a chain, and the rest of the game. But if the offensive line is not protecting your quarterback, it is over. It is done. Hang up the towel, go back in the locker room, take off your uniforms, and go home. Because that's pretty much what it was Monday night. Y'all just did not show up. Offense and defense. Defense couldn't really stop the D train. They just couldn't do it because Derrick Henry had 17 carries for 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, who gonna stop Derrick Henry, the big old daddy D train? Nobody. I mean, the Dolphins didn't have no answers for the D train because he still scored his 2 touchdowns. He didn't run the ball as much as he wanted to, but he scored 2 touchdowns. The offense on rushing attack on Tennessee rushing was 29 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. 29 carries, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defense was just not there as well, neither, as well as the offense. I mean, and then the sad thing about it, y'all give Tennessee enough time on the clock in the fourth quarter to put a drive together and score the game-winning TD. Wow, what a shame! All right, let's go ahead over the score by quarter. First quarter, Tennessee zip, Dolphins 7, and everything fell apart in the second quarter when Tennessee scored 10 points to Miami 0. Yes, the defense of Tennessee Titans was getting into a head, and the offensive line said, "You know what? We can't do this. Please help us. We need help." Because they did not have an answer to Tennessee defense, and they were just running schemes. Tua was getting sacked left and right, and then when Tua gets disrupted, the Miami Dolphins lose the game because he's not in rhythm. He can't hit his targets, and it is over. Third quarter was tied. Tennessee 3, Miami 3. They both kicked the field goal. And in the fourth quarter, Tennessee 15, Miami Dolphins 17. Now, the Dolphins could have won the game, but in the last few seconds on a fourth down conversion, the Dolphins allowed the Tua, our big boy, the offensive line allowed Tua to get sacked and dropped at the line of scrimmage, turnover on downs. That hurt it. And we could have kicked the game-winning field goal. But just like I said, the offensive line and defensive did not show up. The defense did okay, but they couldn't stop D Train at all. And and they couldn't stop the passing attack for Will Levi's. He did his thing. The only interception that Levi's threw was a pick six to Siler. He intercepted the ball. He was in the right place at the right time. He intercepted the ball and took it in for the score. That was it. Other than that, Will Levi's had 23 of 38 for 327 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And he was sacked 1 time for a loss of 7 yards. On Tennessee rushing, just like I said, Derrick Henry didn't really do too much, but You give Derrick Henry some short yardage, he will find that end zone because the D train will not be stopped. Derrick Henry has 17 carries for 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tajay Spears has 7 carries for 29 yards. Will Levi, he also pitched in with 4 carries for 15 yards. And Traylon Burks, 1 carry for 5 yards. Just like I said, the team carry total was 29 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. On Tennessee receiving, DeAndre Hopkins was a beast. Beast mode. And if you don't find the answer to DeAndre Hopkins in the secondary, he's gonna find soft zones and he's gonna find open areas in the defense zone and get his yardage all day, every day. As he had 7 receptions for 124 yards and 1 touchdown. Tajay Spears, he pitched on the receiving team with 6 receptions for 89 yards. Shigomez Okonkwo, 5 receptions for 46 yards. Nick Westbrook, Icon, 2 receptions for 28 yards. Chris Moore, 1 reception for 22 yards. Derrick Henry, 1 reception for 17 yards. And Traylon Burks, 1 reception for 1 yard. Total of receptions on Tennessee receiving team was 23 receptions for 327 yards and a touchdown. Now on the fumbles, Levi's had 1 fumble, had 1 loss, no recovery. Eric Gaynor had 1 fumble, 1 loss. Todd Sweat had 1 fumble, no loss, no recovery, and TK McLendon Jr. had none but recovered 1, giving it a total of 3 fumbles and 2 losses and 1 recovery. The defense was putting pressure, but just like I said, you can put pressure on the quarterback all day, but if you cannot stop their top leading running back, and why come and compete? Because if you can't compete with the big boys, especially games like this, especially games you need to win to go ahead and start locking at the bye week in the playoffs. And right now, the Dolphins really shot themselves in the foot for that. They needed this win to start securing that bye week. Now you guys to go ahead on and beat the Jets, beat the Cowboys, beat the Ravens, and beat Buffalo at home on your turf to clinch the playoffs and a bye week. And just like Stephen A. Said with Shannon Sharp and another sports commentator, if you don't have an offensive line, you cannot compete. So it's all about the big boys on the trenches, the D line and the O line. The O line putting pressure to get to the quarterback, and the offensive line got a block. In Miami case, the O line did not show up, and the D line played. It's just that the linebackers as well as the secondary, they just did not have no answer for Derrick Henry, and it is pitiful, very pitiful. All right, on the Dolphins, Tua Tago had 23 of 33 for 240 yards, no touchdown. Wow. No interceptions. That's a big plus, but this is where everything fell apart. The offensive line gave up 5 sacks for a loss of 32 yards. 32 yards. That is pathetic. When your offensive line do not come and play, as well as your defense, that's the same thing. The D-line came to play, but the linebacker was sluggish. The secondary was sluggish because the secondary gave let DeAndre Hopkins ran ragged all through their secondary to find loopholes to keep the chains moving. He had his catches, he had a touchdown, and the chains kept moving. And that's the thing that really hurt the Dolphins on their behalf because the O-line did not show up. And if the O-line don't show up, then why come and compete? Especially when games you got to win. All right, on Miami rushing, Mostra had 21 carries for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane had 7 carries for 47 yards. Tua Tagovailoa had 3 carries for 15 yards, giving a team total of 31 carries, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 158 yards compared to 83 yards. 2 touchdowns apiece. Averaging, Dolphins averaging 5.1 yards per carry. Tennessee Titans averaging 2.9 yards per carry. Wow. Now here's where the offensive line gave up, because when they gave up, it was over. It was over. Jalen Waddle, 6 receptions for 79 yards and no TD. Tyreek Hill was aggravated by the injury, his ankle injury, so he stepped out. He had 4 receptions for 61 yards. Cedric Wilson Jr., 2 receptions for 30 yards. Devon Achane, 5 receptions for 24 yards. Durham Smythe, 2 receptions for 16 yards. Alec Ingle had 1 reception for 13 yards. Braxton Burrows, 2 receptions for 13 yards, and Raheem Mostert had 1 reception for 4 yards, giving them a total of 23 receptions, 240 yards, averaging 10.4 yards per reception, to their 327 yards and 14.2 yards per reception. 1 touchdown, no touchdowns. And offensive line did not do their thing to give Tua time to find his targets, get that accuracy, hit his targets, keep the chains moving. TD here, TD there, TD everywhere. Nothing. Nothing on offense. And that is a goddamn shame. A total shame. Yes, I said it, a damn shame. And it's embarrassing. Okay, Miami fumbles. Tua Tagovailoa had 2 fumbles, lost 1, recovered 1. Bradley Chubbs recovered 1. Elijah Campbell recovered 1. That's a total of 2 fumbles. They lost 1 and they recovered 3. Pressure, pressure, pressure all day on the quarterback. Damn shame. Damn shame. Alrighty, team stats. And just like I said, it was pretty much Dolphins was in control. It's just that when your entire offensive line don't show up to play, you might just call it quits. Just like I said, y'all might just say, you know what, Tennessee, y'all won, we going home because we didn't want to play today. Half the team showed up, half the team stayed home. So if you didn't show up to play, why suit up? Why be in the NFL? Why call yourself a professional? If you can't play your profession, your job is to block. And if you cannot block, what is the purpose of putting on a damn uniform and going out there making 6 figures or league minimum? And you can't do your damn job. That's sad. Very sad. Alrighty, passing yards, like I said, Levi's had 23 of 38, 327 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception. The only interception that he threw was when Siler had did the quick pick 6. He was in the right spot at the right time and took it in for the touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa had 23 of 33 or 240 yards. Just like I said, Tua, accuracy when you give him time to throw. He will rip you apart. But here, offensive line just say, you know what, Tua, we sorry, but we didn't want to play today. My mind was elsewhere. So then they just gave up 5 sacks for 32-yard loss and had Tua running for his day life. Running for his day life. Running for his day life. Because when you run all over the field and you scrambling, you're not really synced and trying to hit anything. You're just trying to do the best you can to get out the pocket and avoid getting towed up. Rushing game, just like I said, Henry had 17 carries for 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert had 21 carries and 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mostert won the battle. But still, mistakes. Receiving yards, DeAndre Hopkins had 7 receptions for 124 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 6 receptions for 79 yards, and that was it. That was it. Nothing else. Team stats. Total yards. Tennessee had 403 yards. The Dolphins 366 yards. Turnovers. Tennessee had 3. Miami had 1. First downs. Tennessee had 22. Miami had 20. Here's the funny thing about it. Time of possession. Dolphin was in cruise control. But it don't matter if you're in cruise control if your team don't come to play. Everybody have to play. It's just not one person. It's just not one side. It's all 24. 11 on offense, 11 on defense, your opponent, and your kicker. They all have to do their jobs. And right now, defense, I would rate them on the scale of 1 to 100. They did about 70%. Offense did about 65 to 50. F, straight up, straight F. Straight F. And it's horrible because your offensive line didn't come to play. Giving up 5 sacks for 32-yard loss. A snap fumble. Tua fumbling the ball. He getting sacked. Y'all just had Buddy running for his dear life. It's just horrible. It's very horrible. Now up next for the Dolphins. Y'all see the schedule. We got them Jets at home. Week 15. Week 16, that's when Prescott and them Cowboys come to town. Then in week 17, we got them Ravens. That's when Jackson and his team come to town. And then we got to finish out. We got to close it out. Game tie. We got to beat Buffalo. Here, we got to win all 4 games to go head on and clinch a playoff spot as well as a bye week. That's it. That is it. We got the Jets. We should beat them again, but right now Aaron Rodgers is making his debut, coming back off his Achilles injury. Wasn't serious, thank God for that. But a lot of quarterbacks went down, just some crazy accidents, crazy freaky accidents, injuries. Accidents, injuries, whatever you want to call it. Barrows went down. Achilles just tore his Achilles. A lot of quarterbacks, about 45, 50 quarterbacks alone went down. First stringers as well as second stringers went down alone. So, Aaron Rodgers make his debut back, but the Jets are 5-8. Should he play? No. I just go ahead on and sit him out and get him ready for the next year. As y'all trying to revamp your old line to give Aaron Rodgers time to throw the ball. And when you give a big A-Rod time to throw that ball, he will rip you apart. And he got some good targets there. I mean, the Jets have some good targets. Big time. The Jets have some awesome good targets. Now, it's all about slowing down Prescott and them Cowboys. Because Prescott got the tight end. He got the receivers. He damn near got everybody. But it's them Ravens. Their defense is rough and tough. And Buffalo. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we win those last 4 remaining games as we get ready to head into the playoffs? And keep in mind, Dolphins. I know y'all watching this. Offensive line come to play for those 4 games. If you don't come to play, it is time to find a new offensive line straight out the draft. 100% pure flesh-bred rookies that is going to go head on and do their thing. Because we could use some rookies or we could use some veterans. How McDonough's going to do it, but he needs to revamp this O-line to give it to us some time. We had the injury. We lost a couple of key stars on the offensive line. But it is what it is. Just like I said, we got the Jets, Cowboys, Baltimore, and Buffalo. All at home, except for the Ravens. The Ravens in week 17, we play in their stadium. at M&T Bank Stadium. Oh, we are in the Ravens' backyard. Can we come up with an upset? So we got 3 games at home, and we got 1 game away. Yes, sir. All right. To my wonderful viewers and everybody worldwide, thank y'all for taking the time out to watch this video. If you like the video, hit the like button. Be kindly to subscribe to my channel. And I see you when I see you. Peace.